part above the water is your conscious mind, the version of you that you proudly show the world. But beneath the surface lies something vast, buried deep within the shadow self. It's not evil. It's not broken, it's just unseen. And that's what makes it dangerous. From the moment you could walk and speak, you were taught how to behave. Be polite, be quiet, don't cry, don't get angry, fit in, be good. Slowly, you learned to silence the parts of yourself that didn't match that mold. You buried your anger, you swallowed your jealousy, you hid your desires. But what's buried doesn't die, it waits. The shadow is made up of those exact parts you pushed away. And while you pretend they're gone, they creep into your decision. They make you lash out at someone who reminds you of what you fear in yourself. They make you sabotage relationship because deep down, you don't think you're worthy. They whisper doubts into your mind when you're about to take a leap forward. You don't even realize it's happening because you think it's just who you are. But it's not. It's a ghost you've never faced. Have you ever wondered why certain people trigger you? Why you feel intense emotion over something that seems small? That's your shadow, mirrored in others. If someone's confidence annoys you, maybe it's because you've denied your own voice. If someone's ambition bothers you, maybe it's because you were taught to settle. Jung called this projection, seeing in others what we've rejected in ourselves. Your shadow hides in those intense reactions. It lives in jealousy, guilt, shame, rage. Not because you are broken, but because you've been avoiding the truth of your full self. And the more you avoid it, the more it controls you. But here's the shift. The shadow isn't here to destroy you. It's here to teach you. It's the part of you that holds your suppressed power, your creativity, your drive, your raw, unfiltered truth. So, how do you confront it? Step 1. Awareness. Begin noticing your emotional triggers. Instead of immediately blaming others, ask, why did I react like that? What part of me feels unseen? What am I avoiding? Step 2. Radical honesty. Start journaling without filters. Write down your darkest thoughts, your fears, your anger, your desires. Don't judge them. Let them surface. You're not writing to fix yourself. You're writing to meet yourself. Step 3. Integration. When those emotions rise, don't push them away. Acknowledge them. Speak to them. Say, I see you. I understand why you're here. But you do not control me. That is the moment you reclaim your power. The goal of shadow work is not to become perfect. It's to become whole. You are not just light. You are also shadow. And real peace comes not from pretending to be good, but from accepting all of who you are. Carl Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That's what this is about, bringing light to the places you feared to look. Most people spend their lives repeating patterns they don't understand. They call it fate. They call it bad luck. But it's not. It's the shadow running the show. Now you know better. And once you see the shadow, you can no longer pretend you don't. The question is, will you face it? Because your freedom, your real, unshakable freedom, begins the moment you do. Is not a monster. It's a mirror, a reflection of every part of you you've been told to hide, bury, or erase. But here's the truth. Whatever you lock in the basement doesn't stay there forever. It waits, it grows, and one day, it kicks the door open. The shadow doesn't want to ruin your life. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be understood. The problem is, most people go their entire lives without ever looking in that mirror. They think their temper is just how they are. They think their fear of success is just bad luck. They think their relationships keep falling apart because others are the problem. But none of that is the root. The root is what lies beneath the unresolved, unspoken, and unseen. Think about it. If you were taught that crying is weakness, then any time emotion rises, you push it down. But emotions don't disappear. They pile up. And then one day, a small moment cracks the dam, and it all floods out. That's your shadow erupt. Not because it wants to harm you, but because it's tired of being ignored. The shadow forms in childhood. When you were told, be quiet, don't be difficult, you're too much, you learned to split, to present a version of yourself that was acceptable. But everything else, your anger, your sadness, your fire, got hidden, not erased. Hidden. Projection is how the shadow leaks. You see someone confident and call them arrogant, someone direct, and you label them rude. But really, it's envy. A whisper inside that says, I wish I could be like that. That whisper is your shadow begging to be heard. Self-sabotage is its weapon. The job interview you ghosted, the relationship you pushed away, the opportunity you weren't ready for. Every time you fear success more than failure, that's your shadow saying, if they see the real me, they'll leave. So you leave first, you quit first, you ruin it first. Emotional outbursts are the final alarm. When you overreact to a small comment, when jealousy grips you over something you didn't even want, when you shut down, disappear, or spiral, that's the shadow saying, pay attention to me. It's not random. It's a message. Socrates was punished because he asked the world to look in the mirror. Nietzsche warned that the more you deny who you are, the more violently it will return. Carl Jung called this the shadow because it follows you everywhere, silent, invisible, but always present. So what can you do? You face it, not with judgment, with curiosity. Start with your triggers. Who annoys you? What kind of people do you judge? What emotions make you uncomfortable? These are breadcrumbs. They lead to your shadow. Then reflect. What parts of you have you disowned? What were you told not to be? What have you been too afraid to admit, even to yourself? Finally, feel it. Let the anger speak. Let the fear rise. Let the sadness be seen. Because the more you feel it, the less it controls you. Integration begins with recognition. This work isn't comfortable. It's not quick, but it is freedom. Because you cannot be whole if you only love the parts of you that are easy to look at. You are not just light. You are also fire. You are not just kindness. You are also strength. You are not just calm. You are also chaos. And that's okay. Your shadow does not make you broken. It makes you human. The question is, will you keep pretending it doesn't exist? Or will you finally turn around, meet its eyes, and say, I see you, I'm listening now? Because the day you do, the day you stop running, is the day you truly begin to live your own success, and later wondered what came over you. That's not weakness. That's not random. That's your shadow demanding to be seen. Most people wear masks. They call it maturity, professionalism, being polite. But underneath that mask is a truth they're terrified to face. And the longer they run from it, the more power it has. That's what happened to Mike, and that's what happens to millions of people every day. Shadow work is not about becoming someone else. It's about finally meeting the parts of you you've left behind, the parts you were told were wrong, the parts you decided had no place in your life. But here's the thing, every piece of you exists for a reason. Anger protects boundaries. Sadness reveals what matters. Fear sharpens your instincts. Ambition pushes you toward more. These aren't flaws. They're tools, but only if you know how to use them.
Let's be honest.
Most people don't explode like Michael did, but that's only because they implode instead. Silent frustration.
Chronic anxiety, depression that won't go away, endless burnout, all symptoms of a war happening inside, a war they don't even realize they're fighting. Shadow work means calling a truce. It means sitting down with your anger and asking what it's trying to protect. It means looking at your jealousy and asking what dream you've been denying. It means listening to the part of you that's been screaming in silence for years.
Here's the truth. Your shadow doesn't make you bad. It makes you whole. Integrating it is how you stop reacting and start responding. It's how you stop being controlled by unconscious wounds and start choosing who you want to be. So, how do you begin? Start with honest, brutal, uncomfortable, radical honesty. Grab a journal and write down what you're afraid to admit, the feelings you judge, the thoughts that scare you, the moments that still haunt you. Don't edit, don't justify, just write. Then ask yourself, when did I first learn to hide this? Who told me it wasn't okay to feel this? What would happen if I stopped hiding? Next, observe your triggers. Who makes you angry? What kind of people bother you? What traits do you mock or avoid? Your shadow speaks loudest through your judgments. And finally, practice compassion. You can't hate your way into healing. You can't shame your shadow into silence. You must meet it with understanding. You must say, I see you, I hear you, you're a part of me. But you no longer have to scream to be noticed. Shadow work is not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong practice. But every time you face a part of yourself you used to run from, you reclaim your power. Every time you catch yourself before repeating an old pattern, you grow. And every time you make space for all of who you are, you become free. Michael's story didn't end with that outburst. It started there. From that moment, he began asking different questions. He stopped hiding behind politeness. He stopped letting fear define his choices. He started speaking up, setting boundaries, taking risks, not because he became someone new, but because he finally allowed himself to be fully him. So the question is, what have you been suppressing? What part of you have you labeled as too much, too angry, too selfish? That might just be the part that holds your voice, your power, your purpose. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your ally in disguise. And when you stop fighting it, you stop fighting yourself. Face it, understand it, integrate, and finally become whole. Loud the ones you're afraid of, ashamed of, or feel guilty of. It's not about being poetic. It's not about being correct. It's about being honest. You write what you're not allowed to say. You let the paper hold what your mind wants. Set a timer, 15 minutes. No edit, no judgment, just write. What makes you jealous? What makes you furious? What are you pretending doesn't bother you? You might be shocked by what surfaces. Maybe you're tired of being overlooked, but pretend you don't care. Maybe you're angry at someone you love, but mask it with politeness. Maybe deep down you feel like a fraud, but you hide it behind perfectionism. That's your shadow, and it's begging to be heard. Shadow journaling isn't comfortable, but that's the point. Growth isn't found in comfort. It's found in the uncomfortable places we usually run from. And the more you run, the more power you give your shadow to run you. Step 3. Start the conversation. Talk to your shadow like it's a part of you that's been locked away, because it is. Ask it question. Why do you feel this way? What are you trying to protect me from? What do you need me to understand? Most people try to kill off parts of themselves. They say, I need to stop being insecure, or I shouldn't feel this angry, or I can't be jealous. But that's not healing. That's pretending, and pretending doesn't work. Healing starts with curiosity, not criticism. Instead of shutting your shadow down, bring it into the light. Learn from it, befriend it, make it an ally. Because when your shadow stops being your enemy, it becomes your power sword. You know what's powerful? Owning your darkness, not being owned by it. Turning fear into insight, turning shame into wisdom, turning pain into purpose. That's what shadow work is about. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about becoming someone whole. Let's be real, most people never do this. They spend their whole lives triggered, confused, stuck in cycles they don't understand. They blame the world, they blame others, they blame bad luck. But they never stop to ask, what if it's me? What if I'm running from a part of myself I refuse to meet? And that's the turning point. When you stop asking, why does this keep happening to me? And start asking, what part of me is trying to speak? That's when things shift. That's when you reclaim the steering wheel of your own life. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That's not just a quote, that's a warning. Your life will be controlled by the parts of you that you refuse to face, until you decide to face them. Shadow work is the process of doing just that. It's not fast, it's not always pretty, but it's real, and it works. You'll begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You'll stop reacting, and start responding. You'll stop blaming, and start choosing. And most importantly, you'll stop fearing yourself. So here's your challenge tonight. Sit down, pen, paper, silence, and ask, what am I hiding from myself? Then listen, write, explore. No one's watching, no one's judging. This is between you and the you forgot. Because the truth is, your shadow doesn't want to hurt you. It wants to be heard. And when you listen, really listen, everything begins to change. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be whole. That starts now. Suppress your shadow. The louder it gets, the more you pretend it's not there, the more it shows up in your habits, your triggers, your relationships. You snap at someone you love. You push away an opportunity you worked for. You feel stuck, but you don't know why. That's not coincidence. That's your shadow whispering, I'm still here. But the moment you turn toward it, everything changes. Start by making space for it. Sit in silence. Breathe. Ask yourself, what parts of me have I been taught to reject? What emotions have I labeled as wrong, weak, or dangerous? Is it anger? Is it envy? Is it the desire to be seen, to be powerful, to be free? Then, right, not the polished, presentable version of your thoughts, the raw version, the one that hides behind a smile, that only comes out in your most vulnerable moments. Let the page carry what you've refused to carry. This is where the healing begins. You might discover an inner critic who sounds like a parent, a bitterness towards someone who has it easier, a fear of failure masked as perfectionism. These aren't flaws. These are unprocessed truths waiting to be heard. Your shadow doesn't want to ruin your life. It wants to reveal it. It wants you to stop running, to stop pretending, to start living from a place of wholeness instead of performance. When an emotion rises, don't push it away. Get curious. If you're angry, ask what boundary is being crossed. If you're jealous, ask what am I truly craving that I've denied myself. Every emotion is a message. When you stop labeling your feelings as bad, you start understanding them, and that understanding gives you back control. Speak to your shadow as if it's an old part of you. You're finally ready to know. Say, I see you, I accept you, but you don't get to run the show anymore. You are not the enemy. You are the part of me that's been waiting to be integrated. The anger, use it as fuel to protect yourself. The insecurity, let it guide you to deeper self-awareness. The fear, let it remind you of what matters enough to be afraid of losing. Your shadow is not your flaw, it's your compass, if you know how to read it. This isn't about becoming someone new. This is about becoming honest, becoming whole, the kind of person who no longer sabotages their own happiness, the kind of person who no longer hides from discomfort, the kind of person who walks into the dark and comes out with fire. Because wholeness isn't just about embracing your light, it's about embracing the mess, the contradictions, the chaos inside you that you've been told to hide. It's about saying, I am both the calm and the storm, and I no longer apologize for either. Carl Jung didn't say this lightly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people never look inward long enough to realize they've been on autopilot, letting the repressed parts of themselves make the decision. But now you know. And with that awareness comes a choice. You can continue pretending. You can let the shadow run your relationships, your ambitions, your self-worth, or you can turn inward, face what's been hidden, and take back the pen. Start writing your life with intention, not reaction. The shadow isn't here to ruin you, it's here to reveal you. So ask yourself now, What have I been running from? What have I labeled unacceptable? What if facing that part of me is the very thing that sets me free? This is the work. This is the path. And if you're ready to walk it, you're already ahead of most. The more you bury your darkness, the more it controls you. The more you deny your pain, your envy, your rage, the louder it echoes in your choices, your relationships, your failures. But the moment you turn and face it, not to fight it, but to understand it, that's when everything begins to shift. Because here's the truth. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's the map you've been missing. The path back to your truth. It holds your repressed voice, your authentic desires, your untapped potential. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. Every time you avoided conflict to keep the peace, every time you played small to make others comfortable, every time you smiled while swallowing your anger, that's your shadow growing in silence. Not because it's evil, but because you weren't ready to hear what it had to say. But now you are. Ask yourself, what have I rejected in myself? What part of me did I label as wrong, ugly, dangerous, or shameful? Maybe it's the hunger to be seen. Maybe it's the anger at being overlooked. Maybe it's the desire to win, to lead, to rise. The things you've pushed away are not flaws, they're clues. Because the shadow isn't just about pain, it's about power. Real, grounded power. Not the kind that pretends to be perfect, but the kind that embraces complexity. When you integrate the shadow, you don't become less, you become whole. This is where confidence is born. Not from pretending to be fearless, but from looking your fears in the eye and saying, I know you. You don't control me anymore. This is where self-awareness grows. When you finally ask, why do I keep repeating the same pattern? Why do I attract the same kind of people? Why do I shrink when I should rise? This is where transformation begins. When you stop blaming the world and start owning your story, even the chapters you tried to rip out. So, what is your shadow trying to tell you? That you're tired of being nice at your own expense. That you've outgrown the role you were assigned. That your silence is no longer serving. Don't wait for a breakdown to find out. Don't wait for the shadow to explode through sabotage, outbursts, or regret. Invite it in. Sit with it.
Listen, ask, what are you protecting me from? What are you trying to teach me? The answers won't always be comfortable, but they will be true, and in that truth, you'll find freedom.
Freedom to stop apologizing for your intensity. Freedom to speak your truth without shame. Freedom to finally feel like all the parts of you, light and dark, belong. Because the real danger was never your shadow, it was your refusal to meet it. So I ask you again, what part of yourself have you been avoiding? Is it time to stop hiding and start healing? Is it time to rewrite the narrative you've been living in? Let me know in the comments, what truth are you ready to face? What emotion, what memory, what buried desire are you finally prepared to reclaim? This is the work that changes lives. Not overnight, not easily, but deeply. And if this message resonated with you, if you're ready to explore the psychology, the philosophy, and the unseen layers of who you truly are, then subscribe. We're diving into the hidden forces that shape your mind, your choices, your destiny. We're just getting started.